Welcome, everybody. This is Ready, Set, Live with Mav and Doc. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our show for Wednesday, the 21st of April. We're going to be talking about crypto and everything else in the next probably 30 minutes or so. We're going to keep this into a quick session today.
How's everyone doing? You guys hanging in there?
Yeah, start off by letting us know where you guys are coming in from. As we get, we kind of herd everybody into the channel here and get this thing lit up, and let us know where you're coming in from. And don't forget to hit that like button so that we let everybody else know that we're live. It helps a lot.
Help us beat the algorithms, please.
Indeed, indeed. So I sympathize for those of you up in the upper Midwest that are dealing with snow yet at this time of year. I feel your pain. We don't have it down here. All right.
Actually.
All right. Let's see. We got Raj from India. We got Vod from Greenville. We have Global Crypto Trader from Holland. We have SE from Dublin. PJ McGreevy from Ireland. Manuel Ionescu from Romania. Outstanding. So we have Santo Domingo. We have Columbia, South Carolina. Manchester, UK. We have Ireland as well, too, from Niall and Virginia. And let's see, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That's a new one for us here. Carlisle, Pennsylvania, France, Netherlands. Amsterdam is representing. We have London finally checking in. Outstanding. All right. Welcome aboard, everybody. Again, if you're watching this live or whether you're watching this through a replay, welcome aboard. We're glad to see you guys. Lots going on in the crypto space. We're going to spend the next few minutes here talking to you about kind of the two halves of crypto. Mav is going to talk to you about the opportunities out there more from a fundamental basis. And I am just, I'm the idiot savant that just looks at charts. That's all I do. So we'll look at some charts in a few minutes here, and then we'll flip it back to you for questions. Sound good?
I think so.
All right, Mav, take it away, man.
Alrighty. Give us a sec here while we segue into talking about some of the top picks and plays that we're watching right now. And yeah, all right. Make sure we're good on here. Cool. All right. So for those who are new, haven't seen us before, or it's been a while, you can follow along with my handy dandy spreadsheet that I've got here just by following the link in the bio below. It's got a little finger pointing to it. So that way you can, see what we're talking about here, maybe make some of your own picks as well, do some more research. I've listed a bunch of different pieces of information here for you. So it's a good resource, and we do this every week. So we're constantly looking for kind of the next big thing. What's going on in the crypto space? This space is so hot. Things are changing all the time. It really helps to have a good perspective as to, what's coming down the pipeline. What are people going to be talking about in a month, couple months, et cetera, or, tomorrow? So that's what I'm here to help you look at. And today our theme is going to be around Ethereum 2.0. and specifically staking, and why we're talking about this stuff. And hopefully I haven't lost anyone just yet with a little bit of that jargon, but why we're talking about this is because obviously Ethereum is pursuing the 2.0 process. They are moving from proof of work as a primary means of consensus to proof of stake. And what that really means is that they're making a big, massive overhaul. And in that time right now, their competitors are nipping at their heels. definitely trying to take some of their market share. But so far, so good. Ethereum is still kind of holding on to that crown. And if you're one of our Omnia members, you've heard me talk a little bit about this week, especially yesterday with our newsletter, about how the supply of Ethereum is really, there's a liquidity crisis. The same thing is true for Bitcoin as well. We are seeing the supply of both Bitcoin and Ethereum dry up as more corporations are getting on board, big institutions, as the overall market is just hungry for these, well, relatively well-established crypto assets. Everything else in the crypto market space is, still trying to get its footing. Definitely the ones in the top 25 or so are pretty well established, but definitely the top two, Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, those are as solid as gold and silver as I'm concerned. And in fact, what we're seeing now is the narrative shift to Bitcoin being gold 2.0. It's this really good, I think, really succinct way of looking at it, in that not only does it hold value very well, but it appreciates value, and it has all these other advantages of being digital that gold simply can't have. And in the same vein, pun intended, silver, or Ethereum, is also pursuing this Ethereum 2.0 initiative, and I think it's going to be a big catalyst for adoption, for Ethereum acceptance, etc., and specifically around our ability to make some money. So let's talk about that a little bit here. So what's going to be going on over the next year or so as they're completing this 2.0 transition is they're switching over to staking. And if you don't know what staking is, if you're not very familiar, if you've never done it before, that's okay. This is going to help you a little bit, because the problem with Ethereum right now, I don't know if you've looked, but if we go over to CoinGecko, you can see that, we'll just shortcut over here, Bitcoin. You can see that Ethereum is $2,400 as of today. And I don't know about you, but I don't know if I could buy a whole bunch of those right now. I'd have to move around some capital, or, I don't have the ability to just get a bunch of that. And certainly when it comes to staking, I think it would be much more advantageous for us to maybe break that up a little bit, have the ability to do almost like micro staking. And this is kind of something that Doc advocates in the stock market, in the ability to, if you look at something like Amazon stock, and it's a lot of money, it's a lot of chunk of change for you to set aside. And if you want to build a well-diversified small portfolio, well, sinking all of that into Amazon, or just, one stock, it doesn't really make a lot of sense if you're trying to be diversified, if you're trying to get exposure to multiple sectors, et cetera. So instead, you're able to buy fractional shares of stocks. And in the same regard here, we're going to be basically taking a little bit of piece of Ethereum and using that to get staking rewards. So we're going to be able to double dip, which I am a big advocate of. I love the ability to put up some money as capital, as leverage for liquidity, et cetera, and get paid for that. So I'm getting staking rewards, and I'm getting rewards for the liquidity that I'm providing. So I'm able to double dip. I'm getting, compounding interest in multiple ways. And let's not forget that Ethereum is a deflationary asset that is going to definitely appreciate over time. I think just based on the market forces that are inherent right now, based on the way things are moving, based on the way that the DeFi network is increasingly staking more and more ETH, and based on the just massive demand for a decreasing amount of supply, I think we are about to see, if not 4,000, clearly the trajectories towards about 8,000 for Ethereum, which is absolutely massive. But I think it's well in line with kind of the expectations that are now being laid at the feet of it. It's just that sort of time where we are moving back into a true altcoin season. We're moving into a direction that really values innovation, really values the ability to, put up some capital, make some risky speculative investments, but also, chase some new trends, do some new things. And that's exactly what Ethereum has been the arbiter of for the crypto space. It's the innovation platform for the last couple of years, where, it's spawned a bunch of them. So it's definitely cool to see that. So anyways, moving into some of these specifically, we can see that you're able to get things like 6.8% staking rewards, 9.1% staking rewards, 6.7, 10.5 for all of these different, they're all essentially doing the same thing, and they're just giving you slightly different modifications of what is essentially just staking Ethereum. But you're able to stake Ethereum 2.0 without all the complexity, without a lot of what goes into having to set that up and have this debate of to stake or not to stake, all that sort of stuff. And again, you're getting some additional benefits that you're getting these, in this example, the STETH tokens that you can go, spend on DeFi, or you're able to, get some cream tokens, which are terribly named, but crypto rules everything around me is what it stands for. I'm not really a fan of that acronym, but I think it's really cool to see this starting to be just out there, and for us to start moving in that direction again, because we're just looking for multiple ways to make our money make us money, right? That's what we're here to do. And I think this is going to be one of the best ways to do that just passively. If you're just looking for passive income, this is golden, because Ethereum is about as surefire a play you can make right now. And if you're able to make, dividends basically off of that passive income from Ethereum, and do so in a way that is going to allow you to free up some capital and move that around at the same time, again, double dip. It's great. That it doesn't get any better than that. So I am very excited to see where things go from here. But that's kind of all we're going to talk about for at least Ethereum 2.0 and staking and some of the tokens today. Again, this is a really complex topic. I don't want to get real into the details here. I'm going to be following up on this in the Omnia newsletter and in our Discord if you have questions about this sort of stuff. But again, it's really imperative just that you understand sort of the trends that are going on right now, that this is one of the big ones that, yes, Ethereum definitely is slowed down a lot. It's definitely bleeding from 1,000 paper cuts right now, but I don't think it's out of the game. I think it's actually ahead of its competitors in a lot of ways. And when it finally makes that transition to Ethereum 2.0, whenever that is, when we finally get over that hump, it's going to be a whole new era in the crypto space, especially for Ethereum, and especially for sort of these platform-based projects that we've all come to know and love as really good. These are the sort of projects that you get just massive returns on investment from. I mean, we were seeing Neo, for example, blow up recently. And that was one we were talking about way back in 2017. It's just, hey, this is the Ethereum of China, and it's doing all these cool things kind of different than everybody else. And that's awesome. We want to see more of that. We want to see diversity in the marketplace in terms of our ability to invest in innovation and invest in just this different, the different ways that crypto is evolving. There's so many different avenues for us to go down right now. And that's the exciting part. And I think that's what no one really knows right now, is where things are going next. But what I can tell you is that betting on platforms and betting on sort of the evolution of interoperability and scaling and all these things that we know crypto needs to overcome as a hurdle, it's just, you're going to do pretty well. There's the risk vector on that one is pretty pretty solid. I think it's between that and Bitcoin's continual dominance. Just those are sort of the bedrocks right now of the crypto space, and everything else kind of is building off of that. That's the foundation. So moving on, let's talk a little bit more about the markets, and let's talk a little bit more about kind of where things are going, and then take some questions, and then we'll keep things kind of light today. We'll keep things kind of low key, but hopefully you guys, if you have questions, we'll take them out at the end here. But again, if you're just tuning in, I just talked about some projects. It's in the bio below, next to the finger pointing to it. But yeah, Doc, what are you seeing from the market perspective? What's the charts telling you?
Okay, I'm just going to go over a couple of charts here today, just in the interest of time. We do need to wrap this up by about the bottom of the hour here today. So let's take a look here. I'm going to switch over to the chart, and Barry was talking about Digibyte. So let's look at Digibyte really quickly here. What I'm seeing is this is a classic ascending triangle pattern. This is a consolidation. Range contraction leads to range expansion. And these patterns are cool because we can actually, if you measure the open end of the triangle, and if you place that on the breakout, that shows you essentially what your measured move target is, which in this case is about 15 cents. Now it's already accomplished that versus the US dollar. So what I would expect to see is more consolidation up at this level in this area, getting ready for the next breakout, because this is how markets in linear format move. They range contraction leads to range expansion, leaves everybody behind, and then after everybody piles in, this is where you get your next range contraction again. And when everybody gets sick and tired of getting thrown off the bus, this is when it breaks out again. So just get used to that pattern across the board. Now, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here talking about Bitcoin. And right now, looking at Bitcoin, I don't see anything that really concerns me. However, I'm going to throw that caveat there. If I go down to the 5-hour chart, this is actually a little bit of a bear flag. Now, a bear flag pattern is the opposite of a bull flag pattern, where you have the initial flagpole, and then you have this little consolidation that shows up here. And there's no guarantee that it's just going to break to the downside, but there is a statistical probability right now, based on looking at this, that we may break down to somewhere around the yellow trend line that I have here. So that would be a good place for this to break and test and actually scare the crap out of a lot of people if it did that, right? Now, a lot of people, when we had this big ugly day the other day, over the weekend, were freaking out and saying, hey, where is this thing going to stop? And to me, the level that needs to hold is right around in here, which is about 42, 43,000. So that's the swing test of what we have, as well as some important fib retracement levels. So it's not going to freak me out if we have the price coming down through this trend line and actually testing this area again. Now, we should see if the price does come down here in Bitcoin. And again, this is all hypothetical. If it does actually come down here, I'll talk about the opposite situation in a second. The price needs to rebound off of this as if you had touched your fingers to a hot stove. That's what needs to happen. There should be so much demand sitting down in this area that just completely envelops and swallows up any supply. Boom, this thing should just take off to the upside. That should cause actually higher prices before long from this, and we should recharge all the charts. Now, the other side of this is just this little consolidation pattern here. If we look at this, there's no law that says the price has got to break to the downside from here. Actually, if it breaks to the upside from here, 58,000, the flag is obviated, it's gone. Price is putting in a higher low and heading higher. So this is the way I want you guys to look at things. Always look at things from more than one perspective and figure out what you're going to do, whether the price breaks up, down, or sideways. The worst thing that you can do is to lock in on one outcome and have that bias for your trading, because typically the price will go in the opposite direction. Just a quick look here at Ethereum. Ethereum looks really good. Again, this is that ascending triangle pattern that we talked about. And this one looks pretty good from here. We've got your classic breakout and retest of the breakout level, and so far has survived that. But I would expect at this point, we're just going to see this thing chop around in this area from about 2,000 to about 2,500 until it's ready to go on the next level. So apart from that, we have a really mixed market today. Some of these coins are up, some of these are down. Of course, we need to look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin has survived the test of the 50% retracement, which is amazing to me. So there's still a hell of a lot of demand in place for Dogecoin. So I don't care whether you think it's funny or whether it's just a meme coin or anything. It's still an asset that people are putting money into. So it's possible to make money from this one. All right, so that's really all I want to talk about today, is just those two. If there's any other requests, we can cover those in the next few minutes here. Let us know if there's anything else. But that's kind of the state of the market right now. A little bit choppy. We have a couple of things to watch for on BTC versus the US dollar. Apart from that, everything's still pretty healthy.
Oh, that's good to know. And for those who are just tuning in and looking for the Cliff Notes version of what the title to this stream is all about, why we're about to see Bitcoin and Ethereum potentially chase new all-time highs, if not smash through them, is simply because the world is running out of Ethereum and Bitcoin. We are seeing kind of a supply shock in effect, and it's going to cause more doubling down of people just holding on to their Bitcoin, holding on to their Ethereum, especially because they know that these are deflationary assets. There are not many more of them being introduced into the supply. And I actually want to talk to you just really briefly about this new class of investor that's entered the space. MicroStrategy, for example, is a large institution. They lay claim to 71,000 Bitcoin. It's currently in their vault, if you will, or digital vault. And let's say you're MicroStrategy and you need a business loan for business operations, et cetera. You can write yourself an instant liquidity kind of payment using Bitcoin, and you wouldn't have to go through a bank. I mean, what other asset is going to allow you to do that, especially in this day and age where things are just absolutely crazy in the capital markets, absolutely crazy from, we're watching the erosion of the dollar right now. And at the same time, for every dollar that's being printed in making the dollar weaker, that's making Bitcoin and the crypto asset space stronger. So I think there is just a confluence of really good positive forces and trends and reasons why we're very bullish going into the summer regarding the crypto space and regarding the performance potential of the big two, if not the overall crypto space as well. So, all right, let's take a couple of questions here, close things out on a nice positive note. And should have a little bit of fun. But
I'm looking at some of these ones that people are sending in, and like NKN is, wow, that's a very sloppy chart, and it's even worse versus BTC. So it's so right now I would say avoid NKN for right now until it starts to accumulate. Buckhorn is asking, where do I do my option trades? I do them all over the place. Oh, by the way, you guys should check out something. I'm just going to steal I'm going to steal this for a second here, Mav. And if you guys are interested in going into Coinbase, again, don't buy the shares of Coinbase. Do something like this. Use cash secured puts. Go out to June options and go down here and sell a out of the money $240 put for $500. So let's say we get $520 for this. Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to put up $24,000 for this. But how much would you be paying if you just bought in at the stock here? You'd be paying $31,000 for 100 shares of this. So you're going to earn roughly about a 2% return doing something like this, selling this cash secured put, and you've got like an 88% chance of not being assigned this and making money regardless of what happens. So consider doing this if you're going to get into Coinbase versus just buying the stock or something like that. Obviously this takes a little bit more of a larger account to play something like this, but don't buy the stock for Coinbase at these prices on an IPO.
Yeah, cool. So there's some questions more about, like, what about Cardano? What about, all these projects that are leaving Ethereum and going into, places like Cardano or Binance Smart Chain or Polkadot or all that? I think that's great. I think that's exactly the sort of, maturity that the space needs. I think projects have been leaving Ethereum since 2017 and it hasn't killed it yet. So I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to get through this transition period. Maybe a little bit bloodied, yes, but better for it, I think, too. And I think the overall space will benefit as well. It's just, it's sort of that like Apple effect. Like once Apple does something, everybody's pretty much going to copy them or, try to get in front of what Apple's doing, et cetera. But overall, Apple doesn't change much in terms of its market share, just continues to dominate. And Ethereum is going to be the same way. Now, talking about more specific projects like Reef or Cardano, we talked about these projects before on the stream, but generally it's, of my opinion that there are some positives of these sort of projects. Cardano is doing some interesting things from a technology perspective. Reef is doing some things from a finance perspective. Does that mean they're the end all be all, best all, etc.? No, but there's still, I think a competitor. They're still, in the fight. So yeah, I don't say they're the best. I won't say they're worst. they're one of many right now. And I think what's important and what I'm trying to stress to you guys throughout the stream is that we're about to see probably a pretty big surge from the big large cap coins. And after that, that's when we're going to see the altcoin season that pumps up those sort of projects like Reef. So hang in there. I think it's sometimes we see volatility, especially in the smaller coins. But right now, I think it's going to be a really interesting time to see where things go from here. But all the right forces are there to see some large cap movement that the rest of the market follows. So let's take a couple more questions and then we're going to get out of here, go play some golf. Sorry about you guys up in the snow, but summer's coming. So it's going to be okay.
Yeah, the sun will come up tomorrow. We'll melt all that stuff away. Okay, any final questions, guys? Anybody else? I'm trying to do some speed rounds here. How low Ethereum will go this bear season? Are we in bear season now?
I mean, we're always one step away, sure, but I don't consider us to be fully in bull season, at least for the overall crypto market yet. I think there's still a lot of projects that have yet to see a return to norm for their 2017 highs. So yeah, it's not equivalent across the board. Yeah, I don't know. How low do you want to try for it? I don't think we're going to see, $200 Ethereum again. At least not without some big catalyst for a drop like that. But yeah, I think everything's to the upside right now.
Guys, I'm looking at Icon right now. Again, Icon broke nicely from a consolidation, but it's just got no staying power. So it's retesting 220 versus the US dollar. So just very sloppy. A lot of very sloppy charts that are out there today. So I spent some time in today's newsletter video going over which ones are a little stronger, and everything's just kind of sloppy, right? You're breaking out. I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Bitcoin tried to break out above 60,000 and there was just no volume. So look for the volume on the breakouts. When the breakouts occur on volume, they're going to stick.
So the point about EID 1559, it's a great point. It's going to lay the groundwork for an explosion in DeFi. I mean, DeFi is already making over 200 million in revenue this per month right now. It's crazy. But 1559 is going to do even more to help that along. The thing about buy the rumor, sell the news is that it's absolutely on target for smaller cap coins. This is a tip I gave back in 2017, and I've repeated it since. Go to coinmarketcow.com. Look for upcoming events for smaller projects or projects that are making some sort of big milestone. And if they have, reach, if they have marketability, and people know about that project, it's going to jump leading up to, let's say it's a big project, like version release or mainnet or whatever. Those are really good ways to just like I've made a lot doing that. It's great. It's really easy. But the thing is, it's less effective as you get towards, the larger coins, because the larger coins are being watched by everybody. So everybody knows what Ethereum is doing. There is no, like buying the rumor as it comes to Ethereum, because everybody knows that Ethereum 2.0 is coming. Everybody knows that, staking is coming down the pipeline, that we're going to get to this point eventually. So that's all to say that, like, it's a great strategy. It's just not going to be as effective when it comes to the bigger ones. Now, I'll definitely check out ACLX for next week. And also, I think I've talked about CeeLo, but I'll definitely check that one out as well for next week as well. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to cut it off a little bit early today, but hope you're doing well. And again, I think we're just starting to see the beginnings of some exciting movement in the space. We're talking about gold 2.0 here. It's going to be I think it's going to be an exciting year. We're not even halfway over with it yet. So yes, thank you for hanging out with us. And as always, we appreciate you being a part of this community. If you haven't done so already, definitely check out the links in the bio below, where we've got some free resources, free community for you to join, hang out with us, come join our Discord. I fixed the problem where you weren't getting the free roll. So you should be able to get on our Discord now. I'm sorry about that. As well as come join our fantastic 10X tribe with Doc. Talks about stock trading, talks about how to get it, like outsmart the markets. It's really good stuff. And there's a lot of really good free information and education in there. So, I mean, I won't steal the thunder from Doc on that one, but I think it's something you should definitely check out if you haven't already signed up. But Doc, anything else for you before we head away? Go play some golf, maybe?
No, I think you've said it all. So cheers and beers, boys and girls. We'll see you guys next week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye
Have
now.
a good one.
Okay, we're done.